what nodes are. You're probably in this room, and we wanted to go ahead and go through the process here. What is your idea of going beyond nodes?
Going beyond the... Can you hear me?
There we go. There we go.
So going beyond the nodes for me is just simply said, think out of the box. You know, just go into the industries and see where we can implement the blockchain technology itself and not its byproduct of the currency. The technology itself in different industries. I believe in the simple form, this is where we go beyond.
Wonderful. How about you, sir?
Asking for thinking outside the box. I say, what if there is no box? If you think that there is no box, and you go beyond the nodes, and you could basically paint on a white canvas, what would you paint? Go beyond the nodes. This is what I find pretty interesting. What we're trying to work on with the Review Blockchain Association, with Atlas Labs lectures. I'm coming back to that in a second.
Sure. So from my perspective, and I work with a Swiss-based organization, as was mentioned, where we look after a layer 1 blockchain ecosystem, and we help to support the growth and development of this ecosystem. So we spend a lot of time thinking about how to create a resilient and robust ecosystem and make sure that the infrastructure, the permissionless autonomous infrastructure that's at the heart of the ecosystem is set for success, not just the next 6 months, 12 months, but the next 5, 10, 20 years and beyond, where we think these pieces of infrastructure are here to stay, and they're very important public goods. So for me, the topic is more about, why do we care about decentralization? Right? It's a word that's thrown around a lot in our space, and so we think about it in 2 different ways. We think about the first way to do with the powers in an ecosystem, and there are lots of different forms of that, whether it's governance or funding, control over the core protocol development, etc. And then the other piece is around the attributes that this can give an ecosystem or a project. And this is more to do with things like resiliency, anti-fragility, self-sufficiency. And so, for me, the question is about how you marry those 2 things together, and how we think about why we're here and why we are trying to do these things in a decentralized way, because it's definitely not easy. There are a lot of trade-offs.
I like that. And I wanted to talk to the ambassador here. We were talking again backstage, and we were talking about the work you've done in educating people, and also you were talking about AI, and I think that has a big play in this as well. Any thoughts on AI and the work you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, going beyond the goals is not only use case, it's not only utilities, but it's also ethics, it's also regulation, and it's a buzzword for many, but in the end, regulation has to be there to some certain extent. As I always said, regulation for regulation's sake, which in the European Union that is handled very often, but regulation for a better ecosystem, so to speak. So there is no fraud, there can't be fraud. The European Blockchain Association was pretty early founded actually in 2017, and we tried to educate European politicians about blockchain because they had no clue. And I would say we had a clue, so that's the reason why they engaged with us. And then we helped the Principality of Liechtenstein to actually set up the Liechtenstein Blockchain Act, which is also known as the TBTG. And as during that time, it was necessary to find where's regulation going, how to safeguard players in that field, users as well as vendors. It's the same now with AI. And my non-profit hat I'm wearing is being the ambassador for the European Blockchain Association, but also being a partner with Atlas Labs Ventures, which is a holding company that builds portfolio companies with great use cases. Like, I'm coming back to that in a second, tutor with AI, tutor with .ai if you want to look it up. So we're building, basically, we're revolutionizing the educational ecosystem. And that has to have regulation as well, that has to have guardrails as well. But why not revolutionizing, disrupting a very old and traditional field like education for the better, not only for students to learn better, to learn quicker, more efficient, and so on. that could also involve blockchain, but we're talking about AI in this case. And on the other hand, that might actually help teachers to teach with better mental health and to be more efficient in their actual administrative work.
That's awesome. Garen, so we were talking, and I know I've been saying that, but we had a great conversation about what you did, what you're doing with some public masterpiece. So how does that tie into this? Because obviously right now, I know you said it's not NFTs, it's NFCs, right? And they're major assets. They're not like, like a JPEG. So what is it that you're doing in that realm?
So what Public Masterpiece is doing is emerging physical assets with the blockchain.
And it's not like real estate.
It's not real estate. We started off in the industry of art. Coming from my background, revolutionizing the music industry, I was part of the digitalization of the music. I saw that the art industry needs the same. Blockchain gives great opportunity. The technology is there to create certifications that preserve for future generations, that can hold information about art and solve a lot of problems in the industry itself. So what we have done is we acquire art pieces, unique art pieces, that's why we call them public masterpieces, and we tokenize them on the blockchain, as well as we create collectible real-world assets. So it's not the, let's say, what a lot of people maybe are aware of, the NFT hype, where you just have that JPEG we're talking about.
Right. Which I was in heavy, by the way.
Yes, I mean, we all have some kind of JPEGs in our wallets.
Yeah, still. It's a graveyard.
But coming now from the perspective, this is from my marketing background, is creating a hype behind the JPEG. Right now we're talking about actual assets that have a value in the market.
Real world value. Right.
So yeah, we started with the art industry, but it goes into the fashion industry where we certify masterpieces of designers.
Yeah.
Right now we're involved with French designers where we want to have a digital certification on the blockchain for them.
But you have a masterpiece in this expo area?
Yes, we have several masterpieces, but the one masterpiece is the Cambodian gold and silk flower of life, that's what it's called. It's the biggest gold and silk piece in the world. It's the first time exhibited in the world. After this festival, it goes to Paris, and then it goes to China, and then it goes back to our gallery. And this is just one of the masterpieces we're tokenizing, and that's why we create a lot of value on the blockchain.
That's awesome, man. Christopher, I think a lot of us have heard Near Foundation, and I have too, and we're kind of going through a little bit of the background because I think the introductions are not enough for the experience that's on these chairs. And so could you please, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about Near as we continue the conversation and what you do with Near.
Yeah, sure. Sure, very happy to do that. So I'm the COO at the Near Foundation. I was previously the general counsel, sort of the lawyer, but I managed to escape the shackles of being a lawyer, which is my lifelong dream as soon as I started being a lawyer, right? So I'm very happy about that. As I mentioned, so we're a Swiss-based nonprofit, right? We look after the ongoing growth and development of the NIM protocol and its associated ecosystem. And the NIM protocol is a layer 1 blockchain that I think many of you hopefully will have heard of, right? And one of the things that distinguishes it is it's a sharded layer 1 blockchain. So that means you can break up the processing that happens within the blockchain into separate shards, into separate pieces, and then they can be processed simultaneously, which allows you to maintain security but also scale very well. And right now, we're very proud in the NIR ecosystem. We have some of the largest Web3 applications in Web3 running on the NIR protocol. We have about 15 to 16 million monthly active users, which is the most in any blockchain ecosystem, which again we're very proud of. And one of the things that we're very focused on is driving large-scale adoption of blockchain technology. And we talked about going beyond the nodes before, right? And I think that's one of the big questions is that the industry has grown a lot. There's a lot of very impressive infrastructure, but I think there's a feeling sometimes, people are saying, well, when is the big breakout moment going to be? Because the Web3 industry is big, but it's not big by global standards, right? We don't have many applications that have millions of users, let alone billions of users, right? So I think for us, that's a very big part of what we focus on. And a great example, so one of the biggest applications in our ecosystem is an application called Cosmos Gleich. And that is a shopping-based kind of loyalty reward application experience, right? And that business was a traditional Web2 business. And they moved their payment rails from Stripe, where they were getting charged quite significant amounts of transaction fees for every transaction that their users were doing on their platform, to the new protocol, and actually slashed their cost base by an order of magnitude from doing that. And most of their users, as I said, they have about 8.5, 9 million monthly active users. They don't even know that they're using blockchain. Yeah. And from our perspective, that's probably going to have to be the case, right? Because again, we have lots of degens in our industry, right, who really understand the technology and they understand some of the unique cases that it can unlock. But I think if we want to see true mass adoption, they're the types of implementations where it needs to feel magical and it needs to match the current Web2 experience.
I love that. So I want to give my take real quick, and I am more a community guy. I talk show host, Twitter Spaces, live streams, and then I've also noticed that a lot of folks don't really like what's happening when it comes to the Bitcoin space right now, because it's obviously a short-term thing that happened during this bear market that brought in a lot of eyes and a lot of users. The reason why I thought about it right now is because you were talking about how do you make it simple. So I had just met Jesse Pollock from Base in San Francisco at the On-Chain Summit there. It was an honor to meet him and be on stage, and I am an early investor in Brett on Base, and Brett holds like 70-80% of the volume on that chain. Very blessed to be a part of that. And I think going beyond the nodes, I mean, if you think about it, it's all about how do you draw, like you said, 50 million users. And this is the conversation partially that I had with Jesse, and I don't think there's enough credit for branding. I don't think people realize you need to have the simplicity of the platform, but then if you don't message it right and let them people see, understand, feel, and touch, it's going to go absolutely wrong. And memes is an onboarding tool. I also had the honor of interviewing Charles Hoskinson. During this meme coin craze he was on, I interviewed him for like 6 hours. And he was frustrated at the idea of memes and what it's doing. And I would literally tell him, make a meme, like get involved with it, because it brings the normies, it brings people. And also people don't understand. It's a way to teach people about the chain. It's sometimes their first interaction with the blockchain is a meme coin. It could have been Doge, could have been shit, could have been whatever. And I'm not here to push those memes at all. I'm just a person that was a byproduct of, and I saw the value. And now you have people that came in to the chain, on-chain, and that's the thing that Jesse calls it. And he calls it on-chain, off-chain. He doesn't call it Web3. He doesn't call it any of that, because most people outside of this room do not understand what that means. But he gave the example of offline and online with the internet, right? Okay, so are you offline or are you online? We're all online. So are you on-chain or are you off-chain? That's how he pitches it. So I think he's actually done a really great job with Base, and his goal is to get all those users that are on the exchange onto the chain, and he's chipping away at that every day. And it's an honor to be a part of it, and it's fun to watch it unfold as it's going on. I just think the builders build, engineers build these cool tech, and then they realize, oh crap, what do we do about marketing? Oh crap, we don't have a community yet. And then they give us a call. And then I look, when we look, you know, like how do we teach people about your platform? So the fact that you have like these amount of like such a large number of users, that tells me we did something there.
Well, I think you're right. The way that we all talk about the technology and the products that are available is very complicated and difficult to follow for most people, right? So I think simplicity is essential, and to have easy ways for people to adopt technology is essential. And so something that's very important to me, and one of the reasons why I believe in technology is because of the importance around self-sovereignty and creating a self-sovereign online experience for individuals where you can actually own your assets, you can actually own your data, and you can have some kind of input or control over the platforms that we're using every day, which is not the case right now. Now, having said that, for most people, when you say to them, don't you think that for example, privacy is really important? They'll be like, it sounds important. I've heard of like Cambridge Analytica and all that kind of stuff, yeah. But also, I love, that my Amazon comes in two hours when I press the order button. I love how easy it is for me to use Gmail. I love how seamless these experiences are and how easily integrated they are into our life. And so we've discovered that the values argument alone is not enough to convince people to make a change, because the status quo is a hard thing to change. So to your point, you need to give people a reason to make that change, which captures something that's uniquely experiential that the technology can enable. And I think meme coins are perhaps one example of that, but I think there are many others.
It's not the only thing, also games.
No, I think there are many different distribution channels
Yes.
to capture users. But I think the important thing is to have as many of those as possible and to make them as easy and as accessible as possible.
I should like for example, especially with Amazon, because if we're using acronyms as well in blockchain, as well in AI, people who don't understand. It's not easy, simply usable, right? Nobody, when you order your parcel and you're happy that it's been delivered, like promised after 2 hours, nobody cares about the supply chain processes in the background, right? A user shouldn't worry about what's happening actually in the background of the blockchain, but rather use a product, use a platform, use a tool, use a whatever you want, software, and shouldn't be bothered with what's in the background.
Absolutely.
So if you have that topic that ends on the term no, I guess most of you people would know what it's all about. If we ask 100 people on the street what's no in the context of a blockchain, people would know like, I have no clue what a blockchain is.
Yes, well, totally. I mean, so right now, you don't need to care about, if you log into Netflix, you don't need to care about if that's running on the server on AWS or Microsoft or whatever, right? Whereas right now in Web3, fragmentation is massive. So if you're like, you want to try and get someone into Web3, you're like, okay, cool, so you need to get this thing, what do I want? You need to download a seed phrase, which is this, this exciting cryptographical thing. And by the way, you're going to have to do that every single time you want to interact on a different piece of logic structure. Then you've got to think about bridging and paying transaction fees and all this kind of stuff. Most people are like, nah man, I'm going to stick with my iPhone and my Amazon and my Gmail because that's just easier and I can understand it, right? So I think, yeah, totally. So I think,
sorry.
I was going to say that we think a lot about this concept called chain abstraction, right? Where there's a trend happening right now in our industry where people shouldn't have to care about which underlying piece of infrastructure they're using. And that's true if you're a user, if you're a developer, if you're a founder. And at the moment, when you're making that kind of decision, like am I going to build on Solana or Near or whatever, you have to think about lots of different trade-offs, like where are the users, where's the capital, how good is the technology stack? And our vision for the future, and we just launched a new protocol feature called chain signatures, which I can talk about a little bit later, is that all of those interactions should be seamless. Right, for the user and for the developers, so you don't need to make those trade-offs. You have a single place where you do all of your Web3 stuff, and it can match Web2 with the kind of user experience.
And I love where this conversation is going, because if I look at the audience, and I would ask you all, you're all internet users, just by a show of hands, does anyone know how the internet works? Can anyone technically explain how the internet works? There's maybe 2 shy hands that went up, right? And that's exactly the point. We're all using the internet, but no one cares about how the internet works. With blockchain, but we need to give ourselves a little bit of credit. It's still so nascent. We're all still stuck on how does this technology work and which technology stacks are we using. And it's projects like yours that are coming out to put the user experience at the center. 2015, and unfortunately it's on record, I said 2 years from now everything will be blockchain, and I really believe that at the time. I think the only reason why that hasn't happened is because we haven't figured out the user experience.
And actually, the user experience would actually be super easy. And that will be, you're sitting in front of your device, and you're talking to your device, and it does what's going. That's the usability.
That's what it should be.
I need to go back on AJ's message on community. I think at the end of the day, we need to get people on chain. Right. That's our mission. Get people on chain. So getting people on chain, you need to spark their passion. So what are they passionate about? And there we go into the niches that you're speaking about in the point. So you're speaking to a certain community there that wants maybe fast money or loves the idea of this certain graphic and can relate to it. But at the same time, which I don't agree on the memes, is that we lose a lot of people that jump into on-chain with memes, but then they lose, they don't have that excitement of, oh, I made money.
Then they leave.
And then they leave and then they say it's all a scam.
Well, yes, go ahead.
Okay, so this is where we need to go inside and educate them. It's nice to have these communities, but then it is our responsibility to tell them this is a risk investment. So you're investing, you might lose. You don't have not always the people with financial background in this. So coming now back to public masterpiece, that's what we are targeted as well. It's a community, we're community-based. It's people who appreciate high-value assets, real assets. And that's what motivates them to jump on chain. And this is what we are also helping them on a weekly, monthly basis with our team, basically educating them how to build up the wallet, how to secure them, the whole background on how the NFCs work, how to buy, and which exchanges to use. And this is where I think all of our responsibility comes in different fields, from the tech to regulation, government, up to the voice. We need to be the voice and behind communities to help them to come on chain and understand the opportunity that this technology is bringing.
Well, first I want to say, if they treat it like a casino, then they're going to get a casino right back at this. They're going to get burned. And I think a lot of us, maybe yourself, maybe not, learn the hard way. I learned the hard way. And because I'm stubborn, I wanted to win at whatever it took, and I had to educate myself. If people do not do the research, if they don't find the right people to talk to and learn about the tech, or learn about movements, learn about people, a lot of it is psychology, a lot of it is how just social life works and human interaction. I mean, a lot of this community stuff is nothing more than just like-minded people coming together, but they're coming together behind something, like a meme or whatever. And it could be a meme, it could be an NFT, it could be a new technology. But I'm just trying to say, yes, it's gambling, and I'm going to give my buddy Crash a shout out for this. He says it's gambling when you do it. It's not gambling when I do it. You know, and I think that took a lot of experience, but really, if you're putting money in that you're not willing to lose, you're automatically in a bad place. And if you're not doing any research, you're automatically in a bad place, and you're just taking the risk. You know the risk you're taking. But at the same time, during this bear market, the only thing that was really driving home was heat.
And you're in a great position, Jim, because of working with communities, building communities.
Absolutely.
Because you can not only motivate people to engage with a certain topic, be it memes, be it blockchain, be it AI, whatever, but also educate them. Because only motivating them and giving them a tool, or here's GPT, use it. And then people type in something stupid, and the output must be something stupid, right?
Right.
But giving them that piece, motivate them to use it, and then educate them like, this is how you prompt, these are the rules, this is what you want to get out of it, so this is what you have to prompt. Same with the blockchain. Like, if you use any blockchain for any project, it might be the wrong project with the wrong blockchain, right? For that reason, we have to educate people more. That was actually our motivation to do so in 2017, educate people about this highly technological piece of artwork, which is the blockchain. But then people said, well, it has no use cases. And it has so many use cases. Why didn't they believe it? Because nobody educated them. So let's educate the mainstream people to not only understand it, but believe it.
No, dude, I totally agree. It's one of those things that takes time to learn, and yeah, no, look, we could talk about this all day long, talk about memes all day long, but it's something that came about during the bear, and it's something that happened when that drew volume, and you know, here we are, and until this shifts and until the funnel shifts a little bit, I think utility will have its day. I mean, utility is hard to explain. I mean, the problem is a lot of projects, utility projects, have promised and not delivered, and people are holding their bags for years and years and years and years, waiting for something to happen, waiting for cross-border payments to finally happen, and they realize, oh my gosh, there's something called regulation, and governments, and banks, and stuff that's been around forever. You can't just like, you know, I mean, not that this what you said over 2-year mark. I mean, there's a lot in the way for that to happen.
Oh no, I said that in 2015.
You're wild.
So clearly that didn't happen.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying, I think the frustration, like everyone here has done something. I mean, everyone's heard of Mir, and you promise and you're delivering. You promise you're delivering. You promise you're delivering. I'm sure you're delivering on stuff too.
We are.
And by the way, he just still deserves introduction. Please help me with your name.
Saqr, Eric.
Partner, TradeDog Group. Tell the crowd a little bit about yourself, because we have plenty of time.
I feel that I don't have the right to do this because
It's
of being
okay,
late, but
bro.
with that,
Okay.
I wouldn't be late if I wouldn't have thought that my session was at the main stage. And then, so anyhow, my name is Ereiqat, and I wrote my name next to blockchain and blood in 2014. And what actually excited me about this entire technology is I didn't get it. So if you're in the crowd and you don't understand what blockchain is, you understand crypto. Crypto is a good one to understand. Send money online, make the money go up, make the money go down, and you know that's an easy use case to understand. If you don't understand blockchain, that's okay. It took me 2-3 weeks, but at the time there weren't any resources. I was blessed enough to then advise the Dubai government on writing the Dubai blockchain strategy at the time, and actually suggesting it as a technology. With that, I'm living my dream. All of you guys are here in Dubai because of blockchain, because of Web3, because of crypto in many ways. You know, Garen moved his entire family over here. Christian is flying in from the world. We haven't met, but I'm sure you're doing some amazing things. And you brought them LA, right? See, and that's the dream. When we had our first blockchain meetup, there was 5 people in the room. Now there's more than 5,000 people out there. The UAE has de facto become the most important place on the map globally when it comes to blockchain companies, and today we're the largest ecosystem in the world. I can go on, but today I'm helping companies in listing their tokens, actually market making transparently and supporting them with a software as a service rather than taking custody of their token.
Wow, that's cool. You know, you said something there about Dubai, and I love it. I've been coming here for years. You know, there's a lot of change happening. I'm from the U.S., born and raised, and now the number of crypto holders in the U.S. has grown to where people are pandering now to the crypto community in the U.S. But we have still a long way to go. We've heard people say that the U.S. wants to now be the crypto capital of the world. I will be quite honest, I think we still have a long way to go. I think, and as an American, I think Dubai is the crypto capital of the world, the UAE is the crypto capital of the world, hands down, and we have a lot of work to do in the U.S. I just want to get that straight.
Yeah, 100%. So a lot of people challenge us, and I think each one of us in one way or the other is a proponent of this space, on why the UAE and how come, you know, if the US wakes up tomorrow and actually allows for this and regulates this, why will it not become the hub? Why will the UK not become the hub? It's very simple. Change immigration policy in the US, try and change immigration policy in the UK, It is as easy to hire someone from Palestine as it is to hire someone from Argentina, as it is to hire someone from Australia. We operate between Switzerland and here. It took us 6 months to hire a Canadian citizen, right? Binance had one of their first licenses. We facilitate that with them. A year later, 12 months later, they had 700 employees from, I think, 60 different nationalities, right? Try doing that in any non-emerging economy, right? It is the policies, the procedures, the infrastructure, the regulatory and digital infrastructure that will ensure that the UAE will stay in that leadership position. In Davos earlier this year, end of last year, we had His Excellency the Minister of Commerce, and he's sitting there in Switzerland, and he said to the audience, "The UAE is the new Switzerland of the world. We wish you guys in Switzerland to take that role again." Right? The UAE, if you think about it today, is the safest place that we've ever visited, and I think each and every one can vouch for that. It is a pro-business place. Anyone can get a visa. If you're a little smart and you have a little capital or smartness to your name, you get a golden visa, stay here for 10 years, come, build, we support you. And this unique environment, no one can replicate that. It took 30, 40 years to build this. So people think this just started a couple of years ago, but really it didn't.
Well, like myself, and I want to go to you guys. Sorry, you've been catching up, but I do definitely believe it's going to take some time for things to change. It doesn't happen overnight. But I saw crypto years ago, and I said to myself, the world is going this direction. Digital currency, everything online, everything on chain. At some point, it's going to happen. So I'm just going to get involved. I'm going to jump in the pool and just figure it out. Best thing I did, I lost terribly bad, but you know what? I'm here and I'm with you guys and I'm in Dubai. Like, I'm happy. I'm in the best place in the world. So, I'm so sorry. Any thoughts from you guys as we go along about this conversation? We'll start with
Sure. So I think the regulatory landscape is talked about a lot in our industry, far too much, and lawyers have to be far too involved in most Web3 projects at the moment, and I think the US is a very big part of that, right? It's become a very politicized question, which it shouldn't, because it's technology, so it's helpful for everyone. Doesn't matter what your political stripes happen to be, but in the US for a long period of time it has become very political. I think we're right that there's maybe some kind of light at the end of the tunnel, maybe, but I think to your point there's a long way to go. And look, I think ultimately the nature of this technology, because it's borderless, it's permissionless, anyone anywhere can plug in and use it, it does create a lot of regulatory challenges. And I think there are some jurisdictions globally, the UAE is a great example, there are others as well, that have been more willing to be flexible and to take a little bit of risk in, I guess, leaning a little bit kind of forwards over their skis, if you like, to embrace the technology. I think they're seeing the benefits, right? You mentioned the UAE, you mentioned Switzerland. Switzerland has a massive Web3 contingent as well, and Switzerland moved relatively quickly with some regulatory frameworks, and not everything about Switzerland is seamless and easy, you're quite right, but I think there are many things about it that are great, but I think these are excellent proofs of concept for other jurisdictions, and I think, well, why would I want this technology, to be here in my jurisdiction, quote unquote? And, the answer is because it can transform economies, it brings new opportunities, it brings economic value, it brings jobs, and all of these things that most nation states should really care about. And I think generally it's the larger jurisdictions that they feel like they have more to lose. And sometimes they feel threatened by this technology because maybe they don't understand it, maybe they don't understand what the consequences will be for existing industries and regulatory frameworks. And so to the point that was made earlier, I think education is essential. You can educate the key decision makers to understand why this technology isn't a threat. It's actually potentially an enormous benefit, an enormously powerful tool. I think we'll be able to move the industry forward. And that's not happening yet.
Absolutely. In the US presidential debate yesterday, one of the contestants, I'm not saying which one it was, said the US is an opportunity economy. And I totally disagree when it comes to the US. I absolutely agree when it comes to the UAE. And this is not only for blockchain, because our topic is going beyond the nodes. And it is so much I've learned here I didn't know before while I wasn't 15, but 15. And I met a friend here in the meantime, Nicholas, kudos to Nicholas. He founded Q Protocol. The Q Protocol is a decentralized governance protocol for the blockchain. So countries, governments are using that to safely and absolutely decentralized use that protocol on the blockchain for voters, for elections. Maybe the US could take care of it. But that's a different topic. On the other hand, going on the notes, seeing all those use cases there are, well, I will remember for the rest of my life, oh, blockchain doesn't have use cases when I started. But it does have use cases, and the crossroads blockchain to AI, and AI helps so much for the blockchain to be more efficient and to understand, to combine those use cases in education. I mentioned tutor with AI before, and where we revolutionize the educational ecosystem with the use of AI and with the use of blockchain, and for the better of the students, for the learning results, for knowledge, for the teachers, for the whole ecosystem, and that's why I'm engaging in motivating people in new technologies and emerging technologies. And it's not only AI and blockchain, it's also robotics. Because a lot of mainstream people are absolutely frightened by the thought of there are robots running around. And my daughter said, can we get a robot for our household? Because he helps us basically pack the errands into the fridge. And you see, if you engage with something, because obviously we speak about these emerging technologies, if you engage with something, suddenly those ideas pop up, and this is what we have to engage with people.
Maybe to sum this up, it is in our human nature to solve problems.
Or make them.
Obviously, we make problems to solve them, right? So I believe that we are in the verge of, now you have to jump on blockchain. Like this, I feel it everywhere. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a government entity, a company, a brand, whatever it is. I feel like this is exactly the time when you look at the niche industry, like the music industry, when these labels were fighting not to get rid of the CDs and jump on the digital. They lost billions in that time. And this is just the niche industry. Now we're speaking on a bigger scale because blockchain solves so many problems in so many industries. So I believe whoever is not getting educated right now for personal reasons or for his company or his government, whatever it is, to integrate this great technology into their system is going to be far behind in years.
If we look at numbers, to the points that the gentleman had made, adopting blockchain on a government level is expected to bring returns in the double-digit percentages for the entirety of the GDP. Ponder on that for a second. Blockchain and emerging technologies and their usage can help us increase the GDP in double digits. Now, I think we're in blockchain where we were with the internet in 1996. I think it's 1996 and blockchain is the internet. And actually there's a number that supports that notion. And by the way, it's been 1996 in my world since 2015 for the records. So if you look at the number of internet users in 1996, 1998, you look at the number of wallets that we have right now, it is that moment right now. And I think what everyone needs to ask themselves in the audience and to the gentleman's point is, what would you do if you knew Google would become a multi-billion-dollar, soon trillion-dollar empire? What would you do if you knew Amazon would be a multi-trillion-dollar empire? What would you do if you knew Apple was in every person's hand, right? And this is the question that each of us needs to ask themselves. And then, what are you willing to do to tap into this economy? I think it's still early, it's still nascent. You know, I wish I could tell you that I haven't been in this space for 10 years, but I have. But I tell you, it's a better time to join now than it was then. We had an uphill battle to get here, but now's the time.
No, that's beautiful. And we're wrapping up here right now, and I want to say it's been an honor to be on stage with you guys. I think this industry is in a better place, and you guys are here. Keep fighting the good fight, and appreciate everyone. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Just want to please give a round of applause to our panelists, if you don't mind.